Okay, so there's an ongoing talk about digital workplace and digital transformation more generally. Is it possible to sort of define what that, and clearly different companies have different priorities, but are there some common sort of components, shall we say, of creating a digital workplace or more generally a digital transformation strategy?
Yeah, 100%. So I think if you look at transformation, it's coming from different angles, right? So there's a transformation going, which is more technology driven. And what I mean with that is that, for example, companies have their own data center infrastructure, and they are kind of trying to transform their own data center to a cloud-based infrastructure. So, and it has a lot of impact, right? So if you migrate your own data center into a cloud-based infrastructure, or you migrate your applications from on-premise hosted applications to kind of more SaaS-based applications, that is a transformation that requires kind of management from an IT perspective. And I think for the last kind of 10 years, we've been working on this trend of facilitating how to migrate. And I think in different shapes and forms, companies have been doing this migration in different stages. And I think the other element of the digital transformation is that the impact on the employee, but all the things IT is trying to arrange for them, is kind of becoming aware that everything we do as a change is not always affecting them positively, right? So giving people more solutions or more tools is not helping people. So I think combining technology transformation from data center to cloud, combine it with the higher expectations from employees in regards to how can kind of tools and software help me to be more productive, rather than to create more confusion. And I think if you tie those two together and show in a mix that people want to be flexible in the location where they work, you really have to rethink how you kind of manage your whole IT infrastructure and how you execute your IT management skills in regards to how people pursue the simplicity of their workday.
Yeah, I mean, I think from that, pick up on the fact that by becoming or pursuing a digital path, you potentially are adding complexity, because rather than having, say, just a completely on-premise environment, you're introducing cloud, managed services, etc. But people do want the simplicity. So is it possible to get the extra sort of technology, which adds the complexity, but in a way that is more simple to use and manage, if that makes sense?
I think we are able to do it. I think it just requires more listening, right? So traditionally, IT was just doing the kind of migrations, transformation, implementing new softwares, and just trying to help people to cope with it, right? So I think there are many examples of companies they upgraded to their Office suite from, let's say, from 2003, 2007, 2000 onwards. And it's always about give people the right training and they understand how to use it. But it was always about how, kind of allow people to do the same with new tools, right? So if you migrate your Office suite in let's say for the last 20 years, it will just help people to understand to do the same thing in a different kind of shape or form. And I think now we've become at a time where it's not about allow people to do the same, but help them to work differently. And I think that just requires a complete different approach to IT, rather than just say, okay, we need to train people how to do the same. It's no, we need to help them to work differently, along with all the new tools that are available. So I think there are so many examples in today's era that there are so many tools that can help you to be more productive or effective or joyful at work, but you have to help people to kind of implement and use them properly.
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, employees clearly want bring your own device, was a few years ago, I suppose there was the big focus on that. But in general terms, employees want flexibility to sort of access IT where, when, how they want. But clearly there are potential issues around security and I mean, shadow IT's, I guess, a bit of an ongoing. So how does one sort of empower them, but also ensure that they're not, and I suppose Gen AI is another example. I guess the world and his wife is probably using Gen AI without necessarily the company always endorsing it or knowing what's going on. So just how do you manage giving people that freedom, but not so that they're, endangering the company, shall we say?
So I think if you start with your opening about bring your own device, I think bring your own device always came from a background that you're not happy with the kind of the tools provided by the company. So you rather buy your own stuff because you think it's better, right? So if you take a different approach, you say just let people choose what they want. That really helps them to do the work. Because for me, it's almost like if you look at the cost of people's labor and you compare this to any tool you can buy, it's almost pointless to save money on an extra monitor or a cheaper laptop or anything else, right? So the cost of labor is the biggest factor in the money in almost every company will spend. So for us, if people want 4 or 5, 6 different monitors to be more productive as a developer, or 2 monitors in marketing, or a huge widescreen if you are a designer, like for me, it's pointless to argue that people have a need, because if they feel like they can be more productive, and it can help them to kind of facilitate their work better, like it's pointless to kind of save money on it, right? So I think if you allow people to express what they need in order to do their work successfully, people are able to express. You just need to help them to facilitate it. For me, it's almost like a chef in the kitchen, right? So it doesn't make sense to put a chef in the kitchen and to give them the wrong set of knives. So you need to have the proper knives to be able to be your chef in your kitchen. And the same with pans and everything. So for me, even in digital ways, we just need to give people the right tools in order to be successful in what they want to achieve.
Okay, I guess the problem potentially achieving that is there's clearly a lot of technical debt companies have, and unless you're lucky enough to have, a sort of unlimited budget, you can't do everything overnight. So again, I'm sure it'll vary slightly from company to company, but is there a way that you can manage that transition and keep everyone on board? You say if you want to give people some new tools, but if you can't buy everyone all the new tools they want at the same time, how do you sort of manage that transformation process?
Yeah, so I think it's obvious, and of course, it's a response that it's not about unlimited budgets. But I think the same way as internally we take for learning development, we just say this is your learning development budget per year. It's up to you to spend it. And the same with IT budgets. Like internally, we said, okay, this is just the type of laptop you can choose from, either large or smaller. But if you take the other approach, you say this is your IT budget, go spend it on what you need, right? So it's not about unlimited budget. Just allow people to make their own decisions. And I think for very long, we're trying to kind of structure people and make them do what we want them to do. And I think now we come at a time that people clearly know what they want. And I think bring your own device is a good example about it. But we have to make sure that from a compliance perspective and security, everything falls still in kind of the right shapes about, okay, this is what we expect from you. Train people, educate them, because people don't make mistakes on purpose. It's just always not knowing. And it's not that they willingly make a mistake. It's just not knowing that what's going wrong. So if IT is not providing the better tools, they will find ways like Dropbox or WeTransfer to get people the files. So if we help people to send the right attachment, do it in a safe way, people don't want to use different tools. It's just the tools we provided to them are not good enough in order to accomplish what they want. So I think same device, hardware, it's about let people speak up, make their own decisions. And in regards to tools, allow people to have tools that allow them to do what they want to do in a simple shape or form.
So I guess what you're saying in another way, put it another way, is that employers need to learn to trust, again, within a certain framework, I guess, but that they need to learn to trust their employees, as you say, whether it's to give them the budget to buy stuff, even the way they work, to a certain extent, whether they're in the office, remote, etc. So is that a difficult thing culturally, do you think, for companies to overcome, or should they just understand, for the reasons we've been discussing, that it's just a no-brainer to give people that freedom and you'll get the rewards?
I think that there are 2 ways of looking at it, right? So imagine you have a company of 1,000 employees, right? So you can look at 1,000 employees as a whole. And as a whole, you think about cost and budget and everything. Or you can think about 1,000 individuals. And 1,000 individuals have a mortgage, have a house, have a family, have a car, have a laptop, right? So they have a life. So I rather look at 1,000 individuals and find ways to stimulate this each individual in a way and make it kind of plannable, predictable, scalable, but it's still an individual. And I think for many times we took kind of the whole 1,000 as one approach. And I think now we come at a time where technology is allowing us to say we can look at 1,000 individuals at a scale to make the individual important, at the same time, make it manageable and scalable to do it for everyone. And I think the example what I said about a learning budget is just Normally, you have to apply for coaching or training, and you get it approved. Internally, we just said, this is your training budget. It's up to you to spend it, right? So it's an approach of freedom and respect and trust, and say it's up to you to judge what you need to train yourself on, and we can help you along the way. And I think that's the same thing we see kind of with our customers and partners, is that people say that it's a more conversational approach in regards to solutions and IT, what you provide, rather than IT telling the customer, this is what you need. I think the conversation is really about, okay, how can we help you to achieve more, or how can we help you to do more? And I think listening is the first step in really making big changes.
And in terms of yourselves, your own organization, Workspace 365, where do you fit within this sort of digital landscape that we've been discussing? What are the tools and the expertise, if you like, that you're able to provide?
Yeah, so at Workspace, we provide an online digital workspace that really allows people to aggregate, simplify everything they need to bring all the tools and information together in a single view. So we're really at the forefront of this transformation, where we say it doesn't matter if you are at the beginning of your transformation or ending towards it, we can really provide a unified view to everything is happening in your kind of role within the company. So really make it simple for people to know, this is what we expect from you. Those are the apps we use. This is the information you need. And this is what we expect from you today, or this is how you perform, or this is just the information you need to have a clear view of what's happening. It's almost like the dashboard from your car, right? So you get in your car, you flip the key, and your car will tell you if you need to pay attention to specific oil pressure or get some fuel, right? So this is like the dashboard from your work. You want to have a single view to know what we expect from you. So we build this as an online workspace. We provide this to customers across the globe, with focus in the UK with our partners, and really kind of providing a transformational approach towards the whole employee experience to make it much simpler. And alongside, we allow IT to do kind of perform those migrations, as we spoke about in the beginning, from data center towards cloud.
And in terms of the sort of business sectors, I believe you've got sort of good experience or focus on certain verticals, but I'm guessing what you do is applicable to everyone. But just if you can explain the industries that you're particularly focusing on, and then, you know, more generally.
Yeah, so we have so many examples about kind of the vertical approaches our partners take. So we have reselling partners that implement our product with their customers. So we have some partners that really focus on government as a vertical. So local councils, so they really kind of have a strong play. We have some partners that really have a strong play in education. We have some partners that really have a strong play in housing. So we see that we help our partners to implement our product with either their horizontal approach customers or vertical approach. I think our partners who really have a vertical focus really understand the nitty-gritty detail of specific vertical, and then you can really build solutions that help one and also multiply to others. So we see the best fit for partners that have a strong vertical focus, because they really understand the problem you have to solve rather than reinventing the wheel every single time.
Yeah, and in terms of back to sort of the digital transformation, digital workplace, just in finishing up, would you be able to not depress people too much, I suppose, but in terms of companies that ignore digital transformation, although I expect there aren't many of those, but more likely don't get it right, what are the potential consequences, do you think, if folks are getting or, you know, organizing some sort of chaotic journey towards digital transformation? What suffers, if you like?
Yeah, so I think it's the best way to compare it is like running a marathon, right? So it's not that from day one you start running a marathon. It's you start training. You just first do your 1 mile, your 3 miles, your 5 miles, your 10 miles. It's like really building up momentum to ultimately run this marathon. And I think the same with digital transformation. It's not like you have to finish a marathon on day one. It's just you have to start your digital transformation, and it's like start small, right? So look at technology needs from your employees, look at technology needs from your company, right? So if you have an application landscape that needs migrating, just take a step-by-step approach and find the right tools that allow to minimize the impact for employees. So I don't think you have to do it kind of the big shebang in one weekend, or to plan the whole transformation and make it happen at a single time. If you can find a kind of a stepped approach towards, hey, how can you transform step by step, minimizing the impact on employees while maximizing kind of the simplicity towards employee kind of focus and results. And I think then it's not about the pace, how fast you have to go, it's just that you're actually doing it. And I think that's the same with training. Just you have to train, and along the way you get better, so you can run more, and ultimately you will either hit your half a marathon or your full marathon. I think it's just start doing it rather than just wait until you're ready, because you're never ready for the marathon until you start training.
And in terms of the benefits of getting it right and taking the step-by-step approach, I'm guessing clearly the employee is important, so they're hopefully going to feel much more valued. But just can you sort of summarize, maybe from some examples you're over or whatever, but just what are the big benefits when digital transformation is works for people?
I think it's twofold, right? So it's the company that is able to kind of transform their own organization to a more modern way of working. So I think being able to have complete insights in what's happening throughout the company, because everything has been digitalized in a way that people understand, and people share their information together, so the things are not really kind of repeated over and over again doing the same things. So I think there's a company benefit. But I think the thing we don't have to underestimate is that attractiveness for employers, for employees, right? So there is a hard time to find the right people, and no one wants to work in an outdated organization. So if the company feels outdated, right? So it's like if I become a pilot, like I want to fly with a company that has the latest airplanes, right? Because that's my profession as a pilot. I just want to fly the latest airplanes. So I will try to fly with a company that just buys them and has them. And I think that's the same to any vertical market. It's about modern employees in today's world. They just want to work at a company that just gives them fulfillment and makes them feel I'm part of something bigger than just my own role. And I want to do this in a way that really kind of allows me to do my role in the best possible way. So I think IT and digital transformation is not an option. It's just a necessity to allow people to really feel part of the company, because all the tools allow us to do so. We just have to effectively use them.
Okay, it's been lovely to chat to you again, and as ever, some great insights into the digital workplace, the digital transformation world. So Erik, really appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much, Phil. Have a good day. Cheers.